Morning, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to Government House, Yarralumla. Dawa Nuna, Dawa Nunawil. I acknowledge the Ngunnawal people as the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather and recognise any other people or families mentioned to the ACT and surrounding region. I respect their continuing culture and the contribution they make to the life of this city and this region. I also acknowledge and welcome other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders who may be with us this morning or watching online. My name is Paul Singer and I'm the Governor-General's Official Secretary. And as this badge signifies with its cross quills, I'm also the Secretary for the Council for the Order of Australia, the body which makes recommendations in the Order's General Division to the Governor-General, who is both the Chancellor of the Order and the Principal Companion of the Order. I'm also the Secretary of the Australian Bravery Decorations Council, the body which makes recommendations to the Governor-General for Bravery Awards. Before we start the ceremony this morning, I'd like to acknowledge among our distinguished guests, Commodore Matthew Dornbos, representing the Chief of Navy, Major General Richard Vagg, representing the Chief of Army, Air Vice Marshal Stephen Chappell, representing the Chief of Air Force, and we add our own congratulations to yesterday's announcement, Ms Shelley Rees, the Chair of the Council for the Order of Australia, Ms Rachel Noble, Director General of the Australian Signals Directorate, Dr Rachel Bacon, Deputy Commissioner of the Australian Public Service Commission, and Mr Robert Altamore, representing the National President of the Order of Australia Association. The Australian Honours and Awards system provides a wonderful mechanism through which we as a nation can recognise ordinary people who do extraordinary things. Since its inception in 1975, almost 400,000 people have been recognised for their meritorious, bravery, military or national service. And the Order of Australia is the principal means of recognising outstanding service. And it's important to note that nominations come from all parts of the community. Anyone can nominate. Today is a special day, not only for the recipients, their friends, their families and their communities, but also for many Australians as we recognise and celebrate an impressive and diverse range of achievements. And my Government House colleagues and I are privileged to play a small part in the celebration and recognition of that service. And we look forward to making this morning a day that you'll recall with pride for a long time to come. Shortly, I'll invite you to stand for the arrival of Her Excellency the Governor-General, Mrs Hurley, and then please remain standing and join in for the singing of the Australian National Anthem. The investiture will then begin in the order listed in your programs. After I read their names and citations, the recipients will enter from a doorway on my right, and then they'll exit the room via the central island, take up their seats at the rear of the room. And it's at this point you might like to show your appreciation with a short applause. At the conclusion of the ceremony, the Governor-General will say a few words, and then we'll invite the recipients to join with Her Excellencies on the state entrance stairs for an official photograph. We'll invite the remaining guests to head out into the dining room or onto the lakeside terrace where refreshments will be served. So ladies and gentlemen, please relax and enjoy this very special occasion. Would you please stand for the arrival of Her Excellencies the Governor-General, Mrs Hurley, and the singing of the Australian National Anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts, our beauty rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated.
Well, good morning, and could I add to the warm welcomes you've received to Government House at Yarralumla this morning for a very, very special occasion in the life of our recipients and families, but indeed in the life of the nation, where we have the privilege of acknowledging exemplary service to our country from either the national to the community level. It is just so important that we have an opportunity to do what we're going to do here today. So again, warm welcome. We will see this morning a range of people from different professional, community, business, military worlds who their peers have determined should receive recognition for their contributions. It's a very, very important part of our honours and awards system. And indeed, I think it's probably a unique characteristic of the system in that it's bottom up. What do I mean by that? This is not a system where twice a year I get to sit down and think about all the people I've met in Australia in the last 12 months and decide who deserves a medal. It's not a system where elites around our country sit together and say, Bill, Bob, Jenny or Joe should be recognised. Every member or every person who comes through that door or a similar door in another government house around the country for an investiture ceremony who is in the general division has been nominated by someone in their community, by their peers, who have looked around and said, I think that service should be acknowledged. It's a real strength of our system. I'll talk a bit more about it after the formal ceremony, but I'm going to issue some homework after the ceremony. So if you watch attentively, you might guess what that homework might be. But it's very important that we assist the system to recognise Australians. It is our system, it is your system. Depends on you and others like you. One of the other characteristics I like about the Order of Australia is that each of the people we recognise don't stop working today. When they receive the letter in the mail or when they are invested today, that's not the end of their contribution. Linda and I, again, travel around visiting this Order of Australian associations, meeting people who have been acknowledged, and they continue in their work. That strength of Australians, that good quality of Australians gives me enormous optimism for our country. And today we just see a part of that, a microcosm of what it's about. Could I say a particular thank you to family members who are here today? You're being recognised as much as each of the individuals we are investing today. I know how this works. People don't get to walk through that door on their lonesome. It's a big family effort. So to each of the family members, thank you for what you've contributed. We're acknowledging your support, your efforts, as much as their achievements today. And we're deeply grateful for you and to you for what you've given. If I was a bit tongue-in-cheek, I'd be also saying they get their bling today, they might take you shopping to say thank you. But indeed, please enjoy the occasion. The award system is very dear to our hearts here at Government House. These 2 weeks of the year, April to September, in September, are the highlight of the year for us because of you, our recipients, and what they bring to our country. So thank you deeply. I'll now begin the formal investiture ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, to be appointed an officer of the Order in the General Division, Mr. Gregory Moriarty, for distinguished service to public administration in leadership roles, particularly in national and international security. Mr. Moriarty is a high-performing public servant who has built an impressive record of achieving outcomes in our national interest. At the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, he was considered a skilled and respected diplomat who represented his country with distinction as ambassador to both Indonesia and Iran and in other senior roles, including as Deputy Secretary. He also served diligently and effectively as our first Commonwealth Counter-Terrorism Coordinator. As Secretary of the Department of Defence since 2017, he's led the organisation with distinction and dedicated himself to strengthening our defence capability during a strategically complex time. Mr. Moriarty has demonstrated a steadfast commitment to our national and international security through his skill, experience and resilience and the high quality of his policy advice. Mr. Gregory Moriarty, appointed an Officer of the Order.
When he was a second lieutenant in the intelligence corps in the army in 1991, I think it was, and he shot off to be the intelligence advisor to General Walcott in the 1991 Iraq war. So we've gone back a long way, and when I say elites don't give them medals, I mean it. I'm sure we Sally here. I was a great servant to Australia, so we're glad to be able to part of the day. Thanks, you.
Appointed a Member of the Order in the General Division, Emeritus Professor Christian Lueck, for significant service to neurology and neuro-ophthalmology through medical research and clinical practice. Professor Lueck has provided outstanding service to the Australian community as an expert clinical neurologist, educator and researcher. He's been responsible for building neurology services at the Canberra Hospital, and he headed the discipline at the Australian National University Medical School, where he was highly regarded by students and colleagues. He presents regularly at major educational and scientific meetings and was instrumental in establishing the Neuro-Ophthalmology Society of Australia. His expertise is acknowledged internationally, particularly as chair of the International Relations Committee of the North American Neuro-Ophthalmology Society. Professor Lueck has made a significant contribution to patient care and has been a generous mentor of junior doctors and medical students. Emeritus Professor Christian Lueck, appointed a Member of the Order. Appointed a Member of the Order in the Military Division, Brigadier Andrew Langford, for exceptional service as Commanding Officer Joint Proof and Experimental Unit and Deputy Director, then Director, Land Combat Support Program. Brigadier Langford has applied his superior skills and professional abilities to ensure the modernisation of Army's artillery and combat engineer capabilities and to best position them in times of conflict. As Director of Army's Land Combat Support Program, he conceived and implemented Army's Artillery Modernisation Plan, which has resulted in new capabilities never employed by Army before. Through his vision, drive and stewardship, more than 9 artillery projects have been delivered, including final government approval of Army's first long-range rockets and missiles capability. Brigadier Langford's pursuit of the best defence capability outcomes is highly commendable. Brigadier Andrew Langford, appointed a Member of the Order. awarded the Medal of the Order in the General Division, Ms Gail Easterway, for service to the print media and to the community. Ms Easterway has been dedicated to the profession of journalism and to the community for many years. As the editor and co-owner, she has been the driving force behind tourism magazines, the Monaro Post, the Snow Post and Your Coastal Life, and has mentored up-and-coming reporters, encouraging many rural youth to take up the career in journalism. She's also been a lifelong supporter of a range of community organisations, including the Cooma Pastoral and Agricultural Association, the Cooma Monaro Race Club, the Cooma Chamber of Commerce, and the Monaro Committee for Cancer Research. Ms Easterway's commitment to her community is most noteworthy and deserving of our recognition. Ms Gail Easterway awarded the Medal of the Order. Awarded the Medal of the Order in the General Division, Mrs Anne Sutton, for service to a community through a range of organisations. Mrs Sutton has been a tireless worker across a broad range of organisations in the Canberra region for more than 50 years. She's been an active member of the Order of St Lazarus of Jerusalem, the Royal Commonwealth Society and the Australian Britain Society. She's also a long-time volunteer at the Wesley Uniting Church, undertaking a number of roles, including as elder, church counsellor, lay preacher, and worship leader. Additionally, she's coordinated the Plain English Speaking Award competition and trained school debating teams at Narrabundah College. Mrs Sutton epitomises service above self, and we acknowledge her contributions today. Mrs Anne Sutton awarded the Medal of the Order. Awarded the Medal of the Order in the Military Division, Major David Brown, for meritorious service in the delivery of strategic human resource capability for the Australian Army. Major Brown has been a key contributor to personnel administration and its support systems in our Army. He drove critical systemic change as the Career Management Module Coordinator to enhance defence capability and the development of administrators. He's also enhanced alignment across the Army People Capability System as the Command Chief Clerk of Headquarters Forces Command in managing Army's largest clerical network. Major Brown has ensured over 1,500 members were retained in service, which has proved of significant benefit to the Army and our broader Defence Force. Major David Brown awarded the Medal of the Order. We move now to the Conspicuous Service Decorations. Awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross, Lieutenant Colonel Alana Burkett, for outstanding achievement as an Australian Defence Force officer while seconded to the Office of National Intelligence Joint Analysis Team. Lieutenant Colonel Burkett was appointed as the inaugural Australian Defence Force Deputy Director in the Office of National Intelligence Joint Analysis Team in 2021. She led a highly sensitive planning effort on behalf of the Department of Defence, which has resulted in an innovative plan to address major challenges to Australia's national interest. She's also been the lead officer for a complex bilateral program with the US intelligence community. Through superior levels of persistence, she's guided joint efforts to strengthen defence capabilities against emerging threats. Lieutenant Colonel Burkett's application and drive have delivered outstanding benefits to Australia and our allies. Lieutenant Colonel Alana Burkett awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross. Awarded the Conspicuous Service Medal, Lieutenant Commander Michael Copland, for devotion to duty in developing and delivering intelligence to the Headquarters United States Indo-Pacific Command and the intelligence enterprise of Australia, United Kingdom, Canada, New Zealand, and the United States of America. Lieutenant Commander Copland displayed superior analytic tradecraft in his role, which has brought great credit to the Royal Australian Navy. Anticipating the needs of the Commander, United States Indo-Pacific Command, he led the Kookaburra Naval Analysis Cell as a bilateral, multi-agency effort, providing insight into adversary naval operations. He worked tirelessly with the US Pacific Fleet personnel to enhance maritime domain awareness and improve data that would support warfighting readiness assessments. Lieutenant Commander Copland's technical and tactical expertise have enhanced the United States Indo-Pacific Command's ability to support national level goals, planning, and tactical force employment. Lieutenant Commander Michael Copland awarded the Conspicuous Service Medal. Awarded the Conspicuous Service Medal, Squadron Leader Melissa Vroodenberg, for meritorious achievement in the development and progression of collaborative space control capabilities for the Australian Defence Force. Squadron Leader Vroodenberg is an officer of exceptional skill whose operational expertise and scientific knowledge have been key to numerous space collaborative opportunities. She's been the driving force behind the development of sensitive space control capabilities that have contributed to the defence of Australia and has ably represented Australia's position to senior officers of the US Space Force and the United Kingdom's Ministry of Defence. Squadron Leader Vroodenberg is widely respected and admired for her achievements. They've made a long-lasting contribution to Australia's Defence Force. Squadron Leader Melissa Vroodenberg awarded the Conspicuous Service Medal. We move now to the Meritorious Service Awards. Awarded the Public Service Medal, Ms. Fiona Barbaro, for outstanding public service to the ACT Government's COVID-19 vaccination program. Ms. Barbaro provided excellent leadership to the team that undertook the ACT Government's rollout of the COVID-19 vaccination program. She also led the development and implementation of the Access and Sensory Vaccination Clinic, which was established as a specialised service for people with disability, their carers and family members, and for people with mental health conditions. She was instrumental in establishing the Equity to Access program, enabling community groups and service providers to deliver pop-up vaccination clinics across Canberra. Ms Barbaro was integral to the success of the ACT vaccination program and exemplifies the values of public service. Ms Fiona Barbaro awarded the Public Service Medal. Awarded the Public Service Medal, Ms Emma Gowling, for outstanding public service to the Office of the COVID-19 Local Business Commissioner for the ACT. Ms Gowling established and managed the Office of the COVID-19 Local Business Commissioner during the pandemic. The office supported Canberra businesses during the health crisis, particularly in mediating between landlords and tenants over rental issues. She ably assisted more than 1,500 clients, providing accurate advice and conducting mediations. Ms Gowling's commitment to working with individuals, businesses, industry associations, committees and the ACT Public Service resulted in vital support being provided to the community during the pandemic. Ms Emma Gowling awarded the Public Service Medal. Awarded the Public Service Medal, Ms Gemma van Holderen, for outstanding public service in delivering significant statistical developments for better use of data for public policy purposes, both in Australia and internationally. Ms van Holderen superbly led the Australian Government's response to the Productivity Commission's inquiry into data availability and use. Her work culminated in the Data Availability and Transparency Act 2022 and the establishment of the Office of the National Data Commissioner. Additionally, her efforts in the area of environmental statistics and data integration and access have provided new information sources and tools for examining complex public policy issues critical to Australia's wellbeing. Ms van Holderen is also known for her commitment to developing early career statisticians, data professionals and future leaders. Ms Gemma van Holderen awarded the Public Service Medal. Awarded the Australian Intelligence Medal, Mr Cameron Ash, for distinguished service to the national intelligence community. Mr Ash has made a sustained high-level contribution to the national intelligence community in a career spanning over 30 years. His leadership in the operations of the Australian Signals Directorate, the Defence Intelligence Organisation and the Department of Home Affairs has been exemplary. Mr Ash's work across a wide range of national security policies, including international engagement and intelligence collaboration, foreign interference policy, and advancing Australia's intelligence capabilities, has contributed greatly to the security of our nation. Mr Cameron Ash, awarded the Australian Intelligence Medal. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the presentations this morning.
We've acknowledged each of our recipients individually. I think it'd be appropriate to acknowledge them now as a group. So well done, all of you. Congratulations. Some might be wondering or curious, what do I say to each of the recipients and why can't you hear it? I'm selfish. In the entire process from nomination to today, that is the only private time I have with the recipient. And it's my opportunity to say a few words of appreciation to them privately. So if you're curious, they might want to comment. They might keep it a secret, up to you. But it's a great opportunity for me just to try to pick the eyes out of what they've done in my mind to contribute to our country. Now to homework, particularly in the general division. You've seen the type of work that people are being acknowledged for. You know who those people are in our community. You've seen them at work. You've seen others out there. So please, our system only works on nominations. If you know those people, you think they should be recognised by their peers in a ceremony like this, go back home, think about it, nominate. Paul will tell you how to do it. It's quite a simple process. While you're thinking about who you think merits consideration, a couple of thoughts to bear in mind. Over the last 3 or 4 years, we've brought the gender equity, equality aspect of the order into place. It's now about 50-50 on every list where it should be. We are working hard to increase multicultural representation and Indigenous representation. Those figures aren't where they should be at the present time. Each of our lists across the year should reflect who we are as a country today. And we've moved in the right direction. We need to do more. So please consider that when you're thinking about nominations. Again, to families, can I say again, thank you for what you bring to today, to our national life, to assisting our recipients in what they do. Look forward to catching up with you as well as we engage in celebrations in a few moments' time. Again, it's been an absolute delight to oversee an investiture ceremony. This is my last week of investitures, and I can't think of a better way of getting close to end of term than to say thank you to people who create the great country that we live in. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Well, ladies and gentlemen, to assist with the homework that the Governor-General has set this morning, I do encourage you to access the online nomination form, which is available on the Governor-General's website at www.gg.gov.au. As the Governor-General has indicated, it is a relatively simple process, and we look forward to welcoming those that have been successful through that process and an investiture such as this in the future. I now invite the recipients to join with Her Excellencies on the state entrance stairs. Would you please stand for the departure of Her Excellencies, the Governor-General and Mrs. Hurley. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I invite you to head